Hello, welcome back to Day 4 Notes. We're going to be continuing on here to find the MAD of our round 2 of golf. So now we're going to take all of our data points again, and we're going to take our data points and subtract the mean from it to find the MAD. So we'll take 103, subtract 86.45, and that gives me 16.55. Then we'll take 85, subtract 86.45, and we'll get negative 145. Remember that we're not doing negatives here, we're taking the absolute value, so this gives me 1.45. If you want to take a minute to go through and find all the values for your MAD, please pause the video now. As you see here below all my data points, I wrote all the values that I needed to find the MAD. I alternated colors just so it'd help you determine or see between the 2 points, see the difference between the 2 sets of points. Alright, now I want to take all these values and I want to add them together and find the average. So I'll go over to my calculator and take 16.55 and add that to 1.45, 2.55, 1.45, 5.45, 8.45, 2.55, 0.55. Right, those are all my 11 data points. I add those together and I get 53.45. I'll take that 53.45 and divide it by the total number of data points that I have in my data set. And here I have 11 total. So I'll divide this number by 11, and that'll give me my MAD of 4.86. Again, we need to find our upper fence and lower fence. Remember, the formula for upper fence is Q3 plus 1.5 times my IQR. Let me rewrite that. It's kind of messy. So Q3 plus 1.5 times my IQR. My lower fence is Q1 minus 1.5 times my IQR. My Q3 value here is going to be 89. I'll add 1.5 and my IQR of 8. My Q1 is going to be 81. I'll subtract my 1.5 times my IQR value of 8. We'll put this into our calculator to find our fences. My upper fence will be located at 101, and my lower fence will be located at 69. Now I need to look to see if I have any outliers. Do I have a number above 101? The highest number that I have in my data set is 103, which is higher than 101, so that would be considered an outlier. I don't have any other numbers above 101, and I don't have any numbers below 69. So yes, I do have an outlier, and the outlier is 103. Now I'm going to continue down to the bottom to do my 5-number summary and my box plot. Remember that with my 5-number summary, The numbers that I can use for my 5-number summary, or that I do use for my 5-number summary, are the minimum, Q1, median, Q3, and max. My minimum, which we found previously, is going to be 78. The Q1 value, or lower quartile, is 81. The median is 85. Q3, or the upper quartile, is 89. And my max value is 103. Now I'm going to start drawing my box plot. My first line will be at 78. Let's see, it's this one. 78. 81. 85. 89. And 103. I'll connect my middle 3 into a box and connect the outer 2 with horizontal lines. What measure of center would best represent this data and why? The answer here would be median, because we always represent data with an outlier with the median. So we will choose median because there is an outlier. Now we'll describe the variation of the data. The 3 things that we use to describe variation are range, MAD, and IQR. My range here is 25. My MAD is 4.86. And my IQR is 8. This means that the distance between the highest number and the lowest number, my range is 25. The average distance from my data points to my mean is 4.86, and the middle 50% of my data is separated by 8 points. We want to describe the shape of our data here. So if we go back and look at our box plot, we'll notice that the right side is extremely longer than the left side, so that we know that our graph is skewed to the right. This is another reason why we would use our median as the measure of center, because we always use the median when it is skewed. Finally, we want to go to the next page and compare our data. So we'll compare our data by using the shape, notating any unusual features, comparing the measures of center, and comparing the measures of spread. The top graph is going to represent round 1, and the bottom graph is going to represent round 2. You might notice that your round 2 box plot and this one on the paper looks a little bit differently. In some cases, we represent outliers with an X, but for the remainder of this class, we're going to represent our round 2. We're going to represent our outliers within our box and whisker plot. So we won't mark it with an X. We'll just extend our whisker out to the right. So how do these rounds of golf compare? Well, both rounds are skewed to the right. For round 2, we have an outlier. And in round 1, has a larger median than round 2. Since we're comparing 2 different rounds of golf, I decided to use the median as my comparison of center because one of my rounds had an outlier and both of my rounds were skewed. So we use median when we have an outlier or a skew. To be able to compare 2 data sets, you have to use the same measure of center to be able to compare. You can't compare a mean and a median because they're not the same thing. So in this case, I chose median because of the outliers and the skewedness of the graph. So let's double check that we've checked off everything from our list. We described the shape. We described our unusual features, which in this case was an outlier. We compared the measures of center. We chose mean or median, and in this case we chose the median because there was an outlier. And now we need to compare the measure of spread. So if we go back up here, our measure of spread for round 1, if you look back at your first page, our MAD for round 1 was 4.73, and our MAD for round 2 was 4.86. So they're very close together considering spread. Round 1 was a little bit less spread than round 2. So the less spread is round 1, the more spread is round 2, because our MAD is higher for round 2 than round 1.